Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sports Aces podcast. I'm Christopher Ortega,
My name is Anthony Conti.
and we are live here, ladies and gentlemen, just to show us. This podcast was created by both of us. It was the idea of Anthony's, and we figured that let's make this happen.
Yeah.
What was the thought process behind this, man?
No, just let you know, vibe well, talk some sports, have a good time.
Yeah, always, man. And of course, we will have guests throughout this show. We will have guests throughout the year. Some guests maybe classmates of ours that have like some hot takes or some good takes, or we might have guests like former athletes that might want to join the show and give us their feedback on a lot of things. But man, we gotta kick it off with NFL, man,
Of
because
course.
we're in the NFL season. Um, Big matchups, and especially the playoffs. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish that the Lions made the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they're an exciting young team. They got good coach and Dan Campbell, some good young players like Jeff Okuda, DeAndre Swift, bunch of good playmakers. Jamal Williams having a breakout year.
Love that guy, man. You watch that Hard Knocks?
Oh yeah, no, he is.
Yeah.
He's must see TV. He is a very unique character. Nice
Yeah.
way to put it.
Guy like the big dogs.
He had 1,000 yards this year.
He did, and he broke the record.
Broke Barry Sanders' record
That's
anytime.
like imagine coming into the season and you would have said that the Lions would have won more than 7 games, which I predicted that. After watching
I
Hard
mean-
Knocks, I felt good like they was gonna win at least 6-7 games.
I don't know if I'd go that far myself, but I did think they were going to make some strides. They got a good young team, Monroe St. Brown, bunch of good, exciting players. I did not expect Jamal Williams to be as good as he was, though. That is
Yeah, I
good
think
for him.
yeah, man. But besides the Lions, of course, the team that kind of made it over them was the Seahawks,
Yeah.
and they're going against the Niners, man. That matchup is pretty. I ain't gonna lie. I love Geno Smith. I love his resurgence this past season, but I think it might come to an end against the 49ers.
Yeah, no, the Niners have an outstanding defense. All three levels. They got Bosa at the front. They got Fred Warner in the middle. And they've got multiple playmakers in the back. I think Geno's going to have some trouble in this game.
And it's not like he's a bad QB. He's an okay quarterback, but I think when you look at the 49ers, I think the 49ers is the only other team I could see making the Super Bowl run. Even though they have a rookie quarterback, and I'm okay if they lose in the conference championship. But I think, Brock has a lot to prove. I think he's going to try to prove a point why, he should be the starter. It's going to be very interesting that next year, though, because, you got Brock Purdy that's having a good year. Then Trey Lance coming back from the injury. And, you kind of drafted Trey Lance pretty high.
You give up a lot of picks to get him, too.
Yeah, but what I think is going to happen is I think it's going to go down to the season where Kyle Shanahan is going to have a tough time to figure out.
It's a competition for sure.
Yeah, even though I'm thinking we in the playoffs, I'm thinking ahead of time for the next year where it's going to be pretty interesting. And Jimmy G is leaving this year, right?
Yeah, he's a free agent.
Yeah. So could be a Jets jersey waiting for him.
We'll see.
Yeah.
If Brock Purdy, say, wins you 2 playoff games, is he guaranteed the starting job? So you're Kyle Shanahan.
I
Or are you going to make him battle it out?
I think he should battle it out.
Okay.
I think because, the teams he played against, it wasn't really, dominant playoff teams. I think he would have to really play against some real top quality defenses
Yeah.
to really see if he's really about it. Because it was like that with Cooper Rush. Everybody was hyping Cooper Rush being the star over Dak. And then you face the Eagles, it was the different scenario. It was like, okay, it was the Eagles. We seen with the bright light show, he's a better backup, but he was good relief quarterback for us. But even though Dak leading the league in interceptions, but we won't get to that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But off that game, Chargers versus Jaguars.
It's an interesting one because you got 2 young teams with exciting young quarterbacks. two future stars in the league, in my opinion. And I think it'll come down to one score. And I think it'll be a good fought game, but I think Doug Peterson is a better coach than Brandon Staley, and I think that will put them over the edge.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not. I think the Chargers should fire their head coach because I think this past season, I think when I look at the Chargers, a lot of games it was just like Justin Herbert kind of saved the day for a lot of the games. Where when I look at the Jaguars really had to fight to get back in the playoff race because when you look at week 7, week 8, it was like the Jaguars is not making the playoffs.
And they had a nice
and then they went on a nice streak. Trevor Lawrence playing the best football. Oh, yeah. And there's over a lot of quarterbacks.
He was
even like Patrick Mahomes in a sense up there with him. Like it was just crazy seeing him really dominate. And the Jaguars is a fun team, man. I think the Jaguars are gonna pull this upset on them because the Chargers, they're a good team, but I think, they're going to keep relying. The coaches, I don't think he has playoff experience under this pressure. I think Doug Peterson been there before and with the young core. And then you have a strong defense. You have the Josh Allen, that linebacker that's like a great leader for the defense. So I think it'd be a good thing for him to, dominate early on in the game. And they can probably put pressure on Herbert and then early turnovers, Jaguars all day.
I'm with you on that. I think Trevor Lawrence will show why he's going to be a top QB in this league. The defense with Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker coming off the edge. The Chargers have multiple offensive line injuries. And I'm with you. Brandon Staley is not the coach for the Chargers. I would love to see them go get an offensive-minded guy like Sean Payton. It might cost you a pick, but pairing him with Herbert, that'd be dangerous.
I don't think the Chargers going to do it. I don't think Chargers buy it. Like, the only team, well, we're going to get to the coaching because I feel like it's some potentials, like, when we look at the mock draft ahead of time. But then that's Sunday, first game, Dolphins versus Bills. I think this is just a cakewalk for the Bills. I think the Dolphins, I like Tua. I like, Waddle. You got to do the dance. You got to love it. But it's just the Dolphins. I don't think they just competing with the Bills. And I think it's all scripted out for the Bills to just win the Super Bowl. Because tragedy with Hamlin, I'm glad he's better now. I'm glad he's, back in rehab now, getting back in the flow of things. But, the Bills I think the Bills is the heavy favorite in my opinion.
Yeah, Hamlin's going to be in the stands for this game, actually. They announced that. But I don't see the Dolphins doing much. They got a third-string QB. The Bills are playing them twice this year. They blew them out with and without Tua. The Dolphins, they don't have a great defense. Backup QB, I don't see them getting much going. I think they'll win by 20.
Yeah, I think for this coach first year, I think, just take the bumps and bruises. Because it's just a lot going on with the Dolphins where I feel like they're not going to be too into the game, whereas like you already lost the battle before it even starts. Giants versus Vikings.
It'll be a good one. I think personally the Vikings will win by, I'd say at least 7. I don't think
I'm gonna say a field goal. I'm gonna be honest. I think the Giants might win this game. I think that might be an upset because I think Brian Daboll, he's been a great fresh breath of air in New York. I think he's really molding the team in his vision. The only problem I can see them having is on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh yeah.
If the defensive backs isn't healthy or they don't come out out the gate putting pressure on Kirk Cousins, it's going to be a long day because you got Dalvin Cook.
Oh, yeah.
You have, of course, Justin Jefferson. You got to hit the gritty on him one time. And, and you forgot, you still got Thielen.
And
you got Hockenson. Like, you have that passing attack where, like, if they don't stop that early on, it's going to be a very long game. And the Vikings could just blow them out and just be like, okay, it was nice. It was nice seeing y'all in the back of the playoffs, but that just gotta take this L. But I got the Giants to come up with the upset by 3.
I think the Vikings, honestly, the Vikings could very well blow them out. The Giants' defense is riddled with holes. They are not good against the run. They have one good corner in Adoree Jackson. And you got playmakers like Jefferson, Thielen, Hawkinson. These are very hard to cover, all of them. They're going to get one-on-ones. I think the Vikings win by at least 2 scores.
Yeah, but like for some reason, the Giants always find a way to win.
They're scrappy.
Like to me, like they're a fraud team, but like they find a way to win for some reason. For some reason.
I don't know where they're gonna get points though. I think if you shut down Saquon, Daniel Jones he doesn't even average 200 yards a game.
I want to say this hypothetically speaking. And I'm a Cowboys fan, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just get that out the way. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. But let me say this, and let me tell you how this might be unrealistic. What are the chances of Daniel Jones throwing for 300 yards with the receiving core?
Very little.
If he hit 300 yards, imagine somebody putting that parlay up of Daniel Jones throwing
That'd be a lot of money.
For like 300 yards. That'd be nuts.
I don't even see him hitting 200.
Oh, my God.
The Vikings don't have the greatest defense. They have a very weak secondary, but I don't trust Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Primetime Kirk Cousins, I think he rights the wrongs here.
Oh, man. I mean, it don't hurt just to think about the scenarios at the what ifs.
It's a big what if. I think Kirk Cousins shuts up a lot of people who say he stinks in primetime. I think he has a very big day. And their rookie head coach, he's had a great year himself.
Yeah. We have the Ravens again at the Bengals. I mean,
it's tough for the Ravens.
I mean, Lamar's not playing. It's kind of like
they might not even have Huntley either. They might be on the 3rd string guy. The Ravens have a very unlucky season.
It's been like such a up and down year, and like it's always like that. It's always like that for some teams where it's just like high hopes, and then you don't got Lamar, and it's a contract year too, so it's kind of like.
Some people say it plays a part in why he's not playing. He went on social media and talked about the injury. I do think he's really injured. I don't think he wants to play for this team.
Yeah. I think it's just I think the contract talks has been like a big news story because I think when he turned down money, it's kind of like make a big deal.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he's injured, he's injured. I mean, I can't.
It's a high grade 2 PCL sprain. That's the higher the grade, the more serious it is. They lowered this to say almost try and force him back, and he just came out and said like, I'm very injured. They're lowballing me here.
I think because his skill set, I wouldn't want him to play.
It would make him less of a runner because he wouldn't be able to get mobility from his knee.
Yeah, and like from a PCL, it can turn to a torn ACL.
Yeah, it can get much worse.
And then the ACL injury is like he out for a whole year. So then
he's not going to get paid.
Yeah, and you just ruined his whole free agency trying to force him back in the game. But
the Bengals, they
just
can't play down.
I think this year they actually better this year than they were last year for some reason.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true.
I think the offensive line is still gonna be questionable.
Yeah, no, they definitely need to like bring a tight end or a running back in to help block Burrow because if he gets hurt in this game, their season's pretty much over.
Yeah, because I think the Bengals. I think the Bengals are gonna win this game by 2 touchdowns or more. I just think, I think the Bengals thing. I think the one thing the Bengals has to do is they have to like really get through a tough playoff series because you have the Bills and the Chiefs. That's like the 2 teams that's like the heavily favorites.
I think the Bengals could be put in that conversation, though. They're good on defense. They're good on offense. Their special teams is strong. They don't really have a weak point. I think there's a big 3 in the NFC, and they're right in there. They got Burrow, Mixon, Chase, Higgins. They have playmakers on offense. As long as they don't play down, I think they comfortably beat the Ravens, and I'm going to say Joe Mixon has at least 100 yards on the ground. I think they'll get ahead early, and they will just feed Joe Mixon.
Well, y'all heard it here first. Y'all just gonna make sure y'all put your parlays in for Joe Mixon hitting 100 yards in this game.
Oh yeah.
Then we got the Monday night game. My Cowboys versus the Buccaneers. I'm gonna be honest. Let's just get out there. It's playoff Tom Brady.
Oh yeah.
Like it's gonna be tough to beat playoff Tom Brady.
He's never lost to Dallas.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'd be surprised we win this game.
I think the Cowboys got a chance. I just think the one player that needs to play well, obviously, is Dak. He needs to stop the turnovers.
Yeah,
if he can play safe football and not turn it over, and you can even just, instead of throwing a pick, throw it away, punt the ball. If you can keep the numbers in your favor, I think the Cowboys stand a chance.
Yeah, because like throughout the season, like when you watch the games, and I know people was quick to, say, oh, Dak Prescott is trash because he always throwing picks. Mm-hmm. But, like, you kind of got to look at the coverages. Like, a lot of teams playing against the Cowboys. Like, they're running, like, cover 4, cover 6. Like, when we were playing against the Giants the second time, like, they had, like, 6, 7 DBs. If you're looking at it like that, that's a cover 6. I'm not going to... No quarterback is going to defeat a cover 6 when you have, like, 6 DBs in every zone. But, I think he do need to play safe. I do agree he got to play safe game. I think he just need to go ahead and, rely on Zeke and Pollard, that duo, to step up. I think CD, this would be the time where CD really shows he's a true number 1.
I would agree. CD. I would say CD's top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, I think the biggest worry for me is just having another option out there with CD because even though we have Gallup,
I'd like to see Schultz get involved. He's a nice safety blanket.
Yeah. Schultz is a pretty great tight end, and I think Gallup need to step up a little more.
Mm-hmm. He got paid pretty big. He needs to play like that.
Yeah, because I don't want to see us like get paid this money and you don't show out.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see Pollard get involved in the receiving game too. He's got some nice yards after catch game.
Yeah, but definitely.
The Bucs, they can't run the ball on offense. They're very one-dimensional, but it's still Tom Brady. He's got the weapons.
And it's like, even if we were in the lead, it's just like you're still worried about the passing attack because Brady always finds a way to come back in the game. You got Goodwin, you have Evans, and
they got some decent tight ends. They got some secondary receivers.
And we have Diggs, but like our defensive backs is always questionable when against a good quarterback with a passing attack. Yeah. Because, it's real questionable.
I mean, I think Parsons and Lawrence make it easier. I think if you rush 4, just that front 4, drop some extra linebackers back, it could help. But I think Parsons is going to have a field day on that Bucs injured offensive line.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. So, I'm going to go with my prediction. Even though we're playing against playoff Tom Brady, I think we're going to get this win. It's going to be an ugly win. It's going to be the win that's like, it wasn't great, but it was good enough for us to get by.
I'm with you. I'd say Cowboys 21-17.
Yeah. Or like a 24-21 game.
It'll be close, but I think the Cowboys just edge them.
Yeah, just inch, and then, hopefully Tom Brady retires or he might go to the Raiders because that's what rumors say.
It is a rumor him and McDaniels teaming up. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a great fit, but that's for another time.
And then, the buys that have the Chiefs and the Eagles with the bye. Do you think any of them going to make the Super Bowl?
I'm not sure because the AFC, we said there's a big 3. I think any of them could make it. The Eagles, I think they're a young team. I don't know if they make it out of the NFC, but the NFC is very wide open. I think most teams could come out with the NFC. I don't know if there's a true favorite.
So, hypothetically speaking, again, if the Cowboys make the Super Bowl, I might lose my mind.
It's possible. I think the NFC's open.
I might lose my mind. Because you think about it, like, that's crazy. Like, it'd be crazy, bro.
It would be massive for the NFL to put a team with such a large poll among the whole United States. I mean, they're Cowboys fans everywhere.
It would be ridiculous, man.
They would live up to the America's team name. I think they can make it. They have the pieces on offense and defense. They just need Dak to show why he was paid like a top 5 quarterback. I think he's got the potential to do it.
Definitely, man. But let's go ahead and even though we got the playoffs, we probably go over, the playoff matchups for the divisional round next week.
Mm-hmm.
But, for the teams that didn't make the playoffs, what's your thoughts on like the mock drafts or the draft order that you have so far?
The Bears, they got very lucky and they got the number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could either take a quarterback here or trade down. They're desperate teams like the Texans, the Colts, even the Panthers at 9. They could all want to move up.
I mean, in my opinion, I think they would trade that pick. I wouldn't be surprised they trade that pick to be, to get like a veteran wide receiver,
Yeah.
like a couple pieces, one on offensive and defensive side of the ball for the number 1 pick. I'm hearing like the Texans might try and make a move to trade pieces to the Bears to get that number 1 pick. If they do, I could see them trading Brandon Cooks.
Oh yeah,
in that trade.
He makes sense.
And
he
like
wanted out for a while.
Oh my God, like I felt so bad for him this past season because it was like, you really giving your all and you in an organization where they not really giving you, no weapons, like no quarterback, because like David Mills and
David Mills is okay. He's not a
he's
franchise
a good backup.
guy.
He's a great backup.
Yes.
Good backup. Good relief quarterback, but not
the guy.
Not the guy.
I think the Colts move up. I think that's a team that makes a lot of sense. They've been stuck flipping veterans from Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. They need a franchise guy. Their GM is very aggressive. I think the Colts are the team that can move up. Panthers, even maybe like the Tennessee Titans. They have been stuck with Ryan Tannehill for a while.
But I think when you look at it like my picks, like, if they don't trade that pick, I mean the first pick is gonna be Will Anderson.
Oh yeah, he's
from Alabama.
Extremely talented.
The Texans gonna get Bryce Young regardless.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals, they're gonna. I know we have a classmate that loves the Cardinals. Shout out to Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I watched their Hard Knocks in season, and it's pretty interesting. But I think they're gonna need a D lineman because losing J.J. Watt. I think Jalen Carr from Georgia would be a good fit for them.
I like the Cardinals taking a corner. I like Joey Porter out of Penn State. I think that would be a big piece of their defense because they get burnt on defense all the time. I think they need a pure boundary corner. He's very big. He's 6'1", 6'2". You could pair him with Byron Murphy. I think they could use that. But if somehow you see like a Will Anderson slip, that's a win for the Cardinals.
Yeah, that would be huge. And with the Colts, I was really debating this, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts stay at 4 and they know like C.J. Stroud is going to come to them.
It's possible. He hasn't declared yet either. They have a few days left. He has not declared for the draft. I don't think he comes back, but
I think that is going to play a big role because if he don't declare and he decides I'm going to stay in school one more year, that might shock everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Because now
Will Levis would move up a lot.
Will Levis is going to be like the second guy up. And, that's when the Colts are going to look at getting him.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, they got the 5th pick due to the Russ trade. They really won that trade. Who would have thought
a year
ago when they made that trade, you would have thought like, nah, Seahawks is going to be horrible. They're not making no playoffs.
I mean, I think from the Denver aspect, after the Hackett firing, Russ looked a little bit better. That glass half full for the Denver fans out there. Glass half full. Russ looked a little better. You still give out the 5th pick. Seattle, they had one of the best drafts in the entire league last year. They get a top 5 pick. They could address defense, offense. They could do whatever they need.
I think they're going to probably get Miles Murphy from Clemson.
That's a good pick for them.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get his teammate Brian Breesy.
Mm-hmm. They definitely need some D-line help.
Yeah, so I definitely see them doing that. Even with the Lions at 6, getting that trade from Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to probably load up on defense. If they get any D lineman to go with Hutchinson.
He looked very good this year.
Like, he looks great, too. And, I think he would be. I think Murphy or Breesy would be perfect to go along with that tandem D line.
They could slide inside. They could
Yeah,
play outside.
because I think offensively, I think you're pretty good. I think you just need to add like another receiver piece to maybe.
Maybe like a free agent guy.
Maybe.
DJ Chuck looked pretty good as like a 2, but Amon-Ra's very good. Maybe even a tight end for them.
Matter of fact, not a receiver. I think they just need maybe another piece, but like I don't think they really need an offensive person because they
were pretty good. Jared Goff had a good year.
And you have Williamson back now.
Yeah, Jameson Williams, he's very good.
Yeah, like
he barely played, but he caught a touchdown.
Yeah, but them three, Chuck, Williamson,
and Amon-Ra. Yeah.
St. Brown
that's a good tandem.
Yeah, and then you got the Raiders. I think the Raiders would go offensive lineman.
Yeah, no, their offensive line is rough. They got a good left tackle. The rest of it's not very good. I think they could use a tackle, probably a right tackle.
I think Pierre Skoronsky from Northwestern.
Yeah,
I think
that's a good pick.
Fit. The Falcons. I think they're gonna give another year or two for the QB situation to go about. I think they're gonna try to give
Ritter
another year or so to be the starter and see how he play out.
He looks okay at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna probably go with Tyree Wilson for Texas Tech.
That's a decent pick. I could work with that.
Yeah. The Panthers.
They're interesting.
They can go two ways with this QB situation because Will Levis or CJ Stroud is gonna go. They're not gonna drop past.
The Panthers, no.
No, they're not going to drop past 7.
Probably not. Because you see teams get desperate. They move up. They see one guy get off the board and they get nervous and they have to go get their guy.
Yeah, and like I can see the Lions not get a defensive lineman but get another quarterback because Jared Goff had a good season this past year. I think they probably get another quarterback just to have a backup, just to learn from Goff and like get prepped up because they know
that makes sense.
That Goff is getting to that point where it's like where Goff is either he's going to hit his prime or is it going to be like, okay, maybe he's not the guy.
He had a good year, but his contract is very expensive. I think he has 1 or 2 years left. You have some guys sit behind him, learn, and he'll take over. The Panthers, though, I think they could use an offensive lineman. But I think we've already taken a few off the board, so maybe defense?
They could go defense. I think the biggest need is going to be at quarterback. I think that's going to be the biggest thing they're going to really want to focus on. Will Levis from Kentucky can be the pick there if he falls to them.
Yeah, I'm not very high on him myself. When I see a college quarterback come out, I'd like to see some production. He played in the SEC, and he was on one of the worst teams in the SEC. He has the tools, but we've seen it with guys in the past who have the tools but don't produce. They don't always pan out. He's a question mark to me.
Yeah. Do you think he might be like another Zach Wilson? Where he might have a great workout, and then
I think he's different.
Okay.
He's different in terms of the skill set. He's bigger. So he has the size. That's why people like him. He's 6'4", 6'5". He has the big arm. He's not the most accurate. I mean, he was a backup at Penn State. He had to transfer to Kentucky, and he didn't really produce. He has the skills, but doing it in a pro day, that's not against the defense.
You know who I think the Panthers would get because they probably going to say they remind them of the previous quarterback they had in their organization? Anthony Richardson.
Okay, I like that. He has the tools. Florida.
I think he's I think they're trying to draw comparisons to Cam Newton with his size and mobility. I think they think, he can go to the Panthers and bring back the energy that Cam had when he first got there. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do either quarterback or just like you said, go to the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson would be a great high second-round pick for them. I think when you bring him in, though, you need someone there as like a bridge guy. So maybe bring Sam Darnold back for a year, PJ Walker back for a year, and let Richardson learn because he's still very raw, but he has the physical traits. He can run. He can throw the deep ball. He just needs to fine-tune him a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And, with the Eagles, they're getting 10th pick from the Saints because the Olaf trade.
Yeah.
I think they might go defensive side of the ball. I think they're going. I think because one of their corners is on like their final year of their contract, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get Ringo from Georgia. Even though he's a national champion, I think it would be great to see him get picked up by the Eagles, and then you have like great veteran leadership.
You know, I'm
and
with
Slay.
you. You got Slay. Bradbury's had a nice year for them, but he's going to be a free agent. I think he leaves. You replace him with a Keely Ringo or a Joey Porter. I think both of those guys would be fantastic fits for the Eagles defense.
Definitely, and just running through everything, man. We're gonna look at it like this: like the Titans, they need a receiver. I think the Titans and Texans, Texans got that 12th pick because the Watson trade. I think the two receivers I can think of that can go either spot would be Quentin Johnston from TCU or Jordan Addison from USC. He was a former Biletnikoff winner.
Both of those guys are very talented.
So
Jordan
I think
Addison's very, very good downfield.
Yeah, so either one of them two can go there. The Jets, that's your team.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see us address offensive tackle because both of our offensive tackles are aging and in contract years. So I think Paris Johnson from Ohio State would make a ton of sense. I know there are some people who want us to make a quarterback move. I think it'll be a veteran.
I think y'all just need to get the lineman because I think a lot of the football game is won in the trenches. So I think offensive lineman is going to be your biggest need because, of course, y'all can get a quarterback, but y'all need people to protect the quarterback. And I think Paris Johnson Jr. would be good, or Broderick Jones from Georgia.
Yeah, both of those guys are very good left tackles. I would love to see them come in, play left tackle for us. Let Mekhi Becton play right tackle. Get some of the injured guys back, like Breece Hall. I think we'll have an exciting young team.
Even with the Patriots can just draft another offensive lineman too, just to help with Mac Jones and get protection for him as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see them maybe get a receiver if we see an Addison fall or maybe Jackson Smith and Jibba from Ohio State. I think Mac Jones could use some weapons, either something to help him develop some O-line or weapons. The Patriots don't have the greatest receivers. Jacoby Myers, their number one, I'd say.
But like Parker's been doing pretty decently.
Yeah.
I think for the Patriots, I think they're gonna probably look at the defensive side of the ball more because I think this year is kind of like a year when you realize, losing like pretty good defensive guys from your team is like play a big role. The Packers, Commanders, and Steelers and Lions. The last four in the draft, in the last four picks of the teams that didn't make the playoffs. The Packers, I can see Jordan as I can see the Packers making the trade to get Jordan Addison because I think they need another receiver.
Yeah, no, they have Christian Watson, who's had a good rookie year. They had Romeo Doubs, who got hurt. I think you could pair another guy up for maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe Jordan Love. We'll see.
Yeah, and then the Commanders, they have a great receiving core actually.
Yeah, no, Terry McLaurin's underrated.
I think for them, I wouldn't be surprised they try to go a quarterback route because
I think they can move up.
Yeah, because I think that's a team that can move up because they really do need a quarterback in a sense because Carson Wentz is just not it no more.
He did not work out. Heineke's a good backup.
Yeah.
But they need the guy. I think Ron Rivera's time is slowly winding up. He's got to make a move now for a young quarterback to either extend his time there or a veteran to win now.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. But they just need to switch ownership.
It'll happen. Schneider, his time is running up. He's trying to prolong it, but he's running out of time. We got the Steelers.
I actually had Joey Porter Jr. going to the Steelers only because Steelers royalty. His father played in the black and gold. I think it would be perfect situation to draft his son into your organization. I think the Steelers. It's crazy to really think that Mike Tomlin didn't have a losing season.
Nope, he clutched up at the end. They almost made the playoffs. Kenny Pickett looked pretty good down the stretch. I like that pick. I just don't think Joey Porter falls that low. I think he's my number one cornerback personally. I think he's really good.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if he falls that low because Another guy that I can see the Lions pick up and the defensive side of the ball be Brian Branch from Alabama.
Yes.
So you have like a lot. We have like a lot of good defensive backs that can really jump ahead of time. So
Branch is very versatile. He could play safety. He could play nickel corner. I think he'd be perfect for that Lions defense.
yeah, definitely. And probably by next week, we probably have add like a couple more picks that our predictions for the mock draft
Oh yeah, they'll
because
change a lot.
this is going to change a lot because there's going to be a couple teams that after tomorrow they probably going to have the correct draft order, and then we're going to add some more picks that we think is going to be picked
We'll
up.
have combines, pro days as we get
Oh,
closer. It'll
man.
change a lot.
It will. It's definitely going to change, man.
End of season awards. Go
I
for that.
think all of them was like the same when we discussed, man.
Yeah, I mean MVP. We both have Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Fantastic year, over 5,000 yards, 40-something touchdowns, number one in QBR, number one
Yeah.
seed. There's nothing wrong with that. Offensive rookie from my Jets, we had Garrett Wilson.
He really helped me out in fantasy this year.
He was fantastic. He had 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was the best player on our offensive side of the ball. He had 3 different QBs. He was outstanding to watch. Defensive rookie of the year, both had from my Jets again, Sauce Gardner.
Is this going to be the first time we had like 2 teammates win Rookie of the Year?
I'm not sure, but
I think it
This
might
is-
be.
it would be it's a legendary draft class from the Jets.
Yeah.
If we just had the quarterback, I think we would have been in the playoffs. But Sauce Gardner, he might be a top 5 corner in the NFL already in his first year. He was number 1 in coverage, number 1 in
Yeah.
passes deflected. No one wanted to throw at him. I mean, there were games he literally wasn't targeted.
Yeah, because I think it's just because like when you look at Sauce Gardner's size.
Oh
and,
yeah,
when you first look at him, you would think like, man, this guy look pretty like a slinky guy. Like
he's
playing
a
corner,
very
but-
thin guy.
But he's very physical.
Mhm.
Like he's not afraid. Like when you see the matchup between the Seahawks and you seen like DK Metcalf was trying to bully him, but he wasn't going for that. Like
No.
he was
He held
bringing
his
the
own.
same. Yeah, he held his own.
He was on the run game too. He had a lot of tackles. He had 75 tackles this year.
Definitely,
Very
definitely.
impressive. Offensive player of the year, Justin
You
Jefferson.
know what? I really had Jalen Hurts early,
Okay.
but then it was just like Jalen Hurts was injured,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like Jefferson started to really become like dominant.
Oh yeah, he had a year that rivaled Cooper Cup of last year. His last week though, fantasy championship, he kind of let me down. But we're not going to talk about that because his year was so fantastic. 128 receptions, 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns. He was unguardable at some points.
The fact that if anybody look him up, to really think that he was only a 3-star
Yeah,
player coming out of high school.
he only got to LSU because his brother was a quarterback there.
Yeah, that's a lot of people don't know that.
No, he was not highly regarded.
No.
His senior year, he got a lot quicker, a lot bigger. He really worked hard to get where he is.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Defensive player of the year,
Oh,
Micah Parsons.
come on, man. I mean, early on it was T.J. Watt.
Yeah, he got hurt, unfortunately.
I hope he gets better. But it was just crazy because he's really, Michael Parsons really was showing like
He does it all.
making a case. Yeah, he was making the case.
He can rush the quarterback. He can drop back and cover.
The only other person I could see winning this award was Nick Bosa.
Yes, he had a very good year, but Micah's versatility to drop back and cover, to play linebacker, to play D end, he's unstoppable at most points of the game. I think he'll
Definitely.
give the Bucks fits.
But we didn't agree with one thing.
Coach of the year. I had Doug Peterson. You had Brian Daboll. I don't think either of them are bad choices. I know the Daboll choice might hurt you a little bit, but he had a good year. I went with Peterson pure because of how much he made Trevor Lawrence take that next step. Coming from the Urban Meyer scandal last year, very hard
Definitely.
for a rookie to learn. He gets a great offensive mind, Doug Peterson, who was a quarterback in the NFL, to teach him. They were 9-8. They came out for a division title. I think he had a great year.
I mean, I think the reason why I had Brian Daboll is because when you look at the Giants organization, You gotta remember from last time they went into the playoffs was 2016 when they took that infamous yacht picture that was trending.
Oh
I
yeah.
know you remember.
Oh
You
yeah.
know Dale
With the Tims on the
we-
boat.
yeah, with the crew, the posse.
Oh, yeah.
They had the whole group there. The whole, most of the players there was there on the yacht, and they didn't win.
Nope.
So they always want to point back that yacht picture. So ever since that loss from 2017 to 2021, their overall record was 22-59.
Wow.
Like they did not see a playoffs, and they had like multiple coaching changes in that time. And then you had Gettleman who just wasn't a good GM
No,
for them at all.
He spent a lot of money to do very little.
And I think Brian Dable, I think he gave them a good sense of relief that in his first year making the playoffs. I think it was pretty good. It's a pretty good first step for the Giants fans to really believe in Dable. Either if he wins or he make it to the divisional round, or even if he lose on this upcoming weekend, I think no matter what, I think he should win Coach of the Year because this case of getting a team that wasn't even in the playoff contention in multiple years to like now. Like even Jaguars had that same case. Like they had the same case as well, and it's like both of them is like great picks for Coach of the Year, man.
Yeah, I have one. My honorable mention for Coach of the Year was Pete Carroll from the Seahawks. I mean, beginning of the year, post Russ trade, post Bobby Wagner releasing, nobody thought the Seahawks were going anywhere.
Because like the Seahawks was like a team where, when you see players leaving, you start to think Pete Carroll was the problem again. But then you start to realize it wasn't really Pete Carroll that was the problem. It was just like
he made them play better.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic coach.
Yeah, and then when you see Russ out of Pete Carroll's system, and then you see when they were trying to do his own thing, it wasn't working.
Yeah, no.
So,
and to the comeback player of the year, speaking of the Seahawks, Geno Smith, he comes in, takes Russ's spot after 4 or 5 years as a backup, and he goes off for 4,200 yards, a franchise record. First year
earlier I had Saquon. But then he had that electrifying year with the Seahawks with Geno Smith. So that's was a pretty interesting year, man. And then after the NFL, of course we can recap a little bit of college football because
it's a playoff. It's a very, very exciting time.
Now, to be honest, the semifinal games was a lot better than the national championship blowout that we witnessed. Because, I was watching both games, and the TCU-Michigan game, it was like, I think the Michigan lost due to early turnovers.
Yes.
I think the early turnovers kind of caused Michigan to lose the games. And it wasn't like TCU was the better team. It was just like, they just had a better game plan against McCarthy.
Yeah, no, I think this game proved, at least to me, maybe not to the fans, that TCU did belong in the playoff. I mean, they hung around with Michigan. They beat Michigan. They put up 51 points. I mean, their offense with Max Duggan and Johnson, who we had in the mock draft, they're very explosive, but they just didn't come out in the national championship game.
Yeah, and the opponent was Georgia, but even when Georgia and Ohio State was playing that game, it was pretty good seeing like that game. And it was really, interesting. Like it was only 1 point away from not being back to back.
Yeah, no, that game to me seemed more like a national championship vibe. It was very back and forth. Both quarterbacks were playing well. Defenses were playing well. They missed field goal at exactly midnight on New Year's. It was a storybook game.
Oh my God. I was watching that. I seen that. I was like,
literally right as the clock hit midnight, guy missed the kick. I mean, it was a fantastic game. You feel for the Ohio State player. You feel for the kicker.
Yeah, I felt more for him because, like, he really was like, really had that kick could have really put them in the national championship game.
Yeah, no, it was his first year there too. He was a grad transfer, and he just hooked it.
And then we go to the national championship game. I mean, there's nothing to really talk about. It was just 65-7. I mean,
it was a beating.
it was like, can we stop the game at like halftime?
Yeah.
Like those games is the games where if you're losing by like 21 when you as a kid and you watch your friends playing Madden, you lose 21-0. You just gotta get off the sticks.
Yeah, you just
Get off the
start, you
sticks.
quit, and you go on your
just,
way.
Just hit the restart button, or like you about to tie your shoe, but then you hit the power button. Try to restart the game. Like, yeah, man, sorry, man, the power went out, bro.
I mean, I like to give a little bit of credit to Stetson Bennett and the Georgia offense. They could have pulled off the gas pedal a little bit, but I mean, he played very well. I know people like to give him a lot of stick for being a little bit older.
I mean,
but,
he could be the veteran y'all looking for the Jets.
uh,
He could be the veteran. I'm just saying he was
I
older.
mean,
He's older than Kyler and Lamar and Herbert. I mean, he's your vet.
He's 25. I really don't think he has a future in the NFL, unfortunately. I think he'll come back to Georgia as an assistant, and he'll work his way up to a QB coach someday.
Yeah.
He could be a coach. He could be a good coach.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him being a coach, man. But now, like, going from college football, man, I mean, the NBA season, even though we early in the season, it's some early favorites, and then we have some teams that's like kind of surprising so far that I'm very surprised about, and then some teams who's pretty bad that I'm like, wow, like I just knew they was gonna be bad. Or some that's like surprisingly like they need to figure it out. Early season awards, I know like the first 3 picks we have, but then coach of the year and most improved players like the 2 that I felt like we wasn't eye to eye on a little bit.
Okay, I mean MVP, we both agreed. Luka Doncic.
Yeah, Luka.
34, 8-8. Can't really argue with that. I mean, Jokic is having a fantastic year, but he's back-to-back MVPs. They probably don't want to give it to him again. Luka's carrying a Dallas team to the playoffs. I don't think it's much else to say. Rookie of the year, both had Paolo Banchero.
The only thing I think about Paolo is because when people dominate the first half of the rookie year, it's the second half at the All-Star break when they get into cruise control.
He's going to hit a wall.
Yeah, they're going to hit a wall. And that's when I think Benedict can get the 6-man and rookie of the year. That'd be great.
That would be fantastic. But when you watch an Orlando game, you really notice that Paolo, he doesn't look like a rookie. I mean, he looks like a full-on vet out there, commanding an offense, getting boards, bringing the ball up, cutting the ball in the post. He's outstanding in every aspect of the game.
Definitely.
Defensive player of the year, we both went with Jaren Jackson.
I'm so glad he's not really dealing with a lot of injuries this year because I think that was the only thing I had a problem with was like he was really nursing a lot of injuries throughout his career early on. And like now I think this year leading the league in blocks, I think it was like 3.3.
3.2 blocks a game. That's ridiculous. He's double the next person in Nicholas Claxton, and he's even got a steal in there too. So most improved, I went with Lauri Markkanen. He's went from 14 points a game to 24. That's a 10-point increase. He's leading a Jazz team in scoring who not many people thought were going to be that well, and they're playing pretty well.
I'm going to be honest. I had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
It's not a bad pick.
Because, like, when you look at his stats, like 31 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 1.6 steals per game, 1.1 blocks per game, 50% field goal, 35% behind the arc. I mean, it's just look at him. And then he had a lot of clutch games, like making game-winning shots that's, like, really helping the Thunder out. And, I think the Thunder is a team where I feel like they need to keep that young core with him and Giddey. Then you keep them 2 together in there.
You get Chet back from injury too.
Yeah, and then you get Chet coming back from injury soon. It'd be a good young core that's going to probably lead, OKC to a playoff.
Oh yeah, they get a lot of picks too in the future. They're going to be a good team for a while.
People, they don't understand. 6-man of the year, of course, we had Benedict.
Second best rookie. He's been outstanding. I don't understand why the Pacers don't start him, but I mean they're giving him a road here to 6-man of the year.
I think the Pacers. I think I think it's kind of smart to have him coming off the bench because I think he play a big key role
Hmm.
in like the bench player lineup. I think him coming off the bench really plays a role. 'Cause I think when you put him in the starting lineup, think about like substituting like your bench players in. It's like you might lose a lot of scoring
That's
coming off the
true.
bench.
You get some matchups too against other backups where he can take advantage. I mean, 17 points, he's killing it. If it wasn't for Paolo being as outstanding as he was, he'd be a rookie of the year candidate.
Definitely, definitely, man. Coach of the year. You know what? It is between the Celtics head
Hmm.
coach and Coach Vaughn over with the Brooklyn Nets. I
Yeah.
think seeing how the Brooklyn Nets was with Steve Nash and
Hmm.
then Vaughn came over to take over, and they really been looking like a top 10
Oh yeah.
team so far.
He's changed the culture there. They didn't mesh well with Nash, the big KD and Kyrie. They just never fit that
I,
well
I,
together.
I think the offense Nash was trying to run. I think the skill set of them wasn't the perfect fit
Yeah.
for KD and Kyrie because the type of players they are. You need a coach that like kind of cater to
Hmm.
their skill set, and with most of the team you have, and the Brooklyn Nets look pretty good.
Hmm. They
The
look very good.
Celtics look pretty great too.
Oh yeah, I had Joe Mazzulla who took over the suspended Udoka. Celtics are the best striker in the NBA. It'll be interesting to see. He's gonna get a job at the end of the year, whether it's with the Celtics or somewhere else. He's been
I
outstanding.
think I think I wouldn't mind seeing him being the head coach elsewhere because I think what's gonna happen is, if he do stay with the Celtics, I kind of see Doka probably get another coaching job elsewhere. But I think it'd be pretty good for him to get another job elsewhere.
Yeah, I think both of them are very good coaches. Obviously, Udoka's got his whole scandal going on. He's suspended, but one of them will be the Celtics coach next year. One of them will be a head coach somewhere else. I think the Celtics have a great dilemma.
Definitely, definitely, man. Before we wrap up, man, like what can we say, man, about just this NFL season, man? Like, what's your thoughts this past NFL season?
I think it was exciting, but a bit surprising. There were some teams who came out of nowhere and played way above expectations, like the Giants, and there's some teams who didn't fulfill expectations. I think we see a lot of rookies play very well this year. I think we're getting to a point where rookies are way more valuable. You can look at Brock Purdy, he was the last pick, and he's extremely valuable right now to the 49ers. I just think this NFL season is very exciting for the future.
I think what the NFL is going towards now, I think now when we look at the NFL, I think we're looking at a transition where the younger guys are starting to come in to start and really playing big roles
Hmm.
and on the team now. Because now it's not like only like your first and second rounders really was like the star guys.
Yeah.
Now like you got your 6, 7 rounders that's really might be better than the first rounders you
Yeah.
drafted before. So it's pretty interesting, man. And you know, before we end this podcast, man, you know, it's just crazy, man. What you looking forward to this upcoming, year with this podcast?
I think, just having fun, talking sports, and hoping to imbue some wisdom on the viewers, listeners, and yeah, just really just have a good time.
You know what? I can't wait till we like start having like people like I guess like our classmates. Look at our classmate. He's out there in the window. What's up, Dwayne? Yeah, but like I think I'm excited when like our classmates want to join in because I think it'll be interesting hearing their takes.
Yeah, I think we'd have people talk other sports that maybe we are not ourselves experts on. Someone maybe who knows a lot about, say, hockey. They could come in. They could teach
Yeah,
us something, teach the viewers something too.
yeah, and maybe next week we might be covering college basketball because I ain't gonna lie, I'm into the college football, but college basketball is definitely heating up with
Oh yeah,
conference play starting up.
we got a
So
good team in UConn right here in our state.
exactly, but but for this moment on, but for the folks at home, we really appreciate you. Appreciate y'all taking the time out your busy schedule to give us a listen. Make sure y'all follow our podcast on our Instagram at Sports Aces Podcast. You probably see it right in the link in this video, or you can see it right below me with the Instagram tag. So definitely give us a follow.
Yep.
This is the Sports Aces podcast. I'm Christopher Ortega.
Anthony Conti.
And see you next week.